Hello and welcome to 1000 Word Interviews. My name is Mordecai and today I'm joined by my friend Dieter. Dieter, thanks for coming today.
No worries, thanks for having me.
No worries, pleasure. And first of all, Dieter, could you tell us a few things about yourself?
Yeah, no worries. My name's Dieter. I'm 34 years old. I'm currently living in Victoria. I moved here from South Australia, another state in Australia. I am an avid cyclist. I enjoy climbing rocks in my spare time or going to a bouldering gym and rock climbing, in another word. I am an avid gardener as well, and I work in horticulture, which is the industrial or the professional term for someone who gardener, essentially.
Yeah, perfect. And what else do you do for fun? You've mentioned a few hobbies there. Anything else?
I play music as well.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of that in my past. But yeah, mostly between music and riding bikes, being outside walking my dogs, perhaps is another one. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, today we're going to speak about a photo of yours that's important to you and learn a few more things about you.
Yep.
As you know, so we get started.
No worries.
Okay. So Dieter, first question. Well, it's the second question really, but we'll say first question. Could you describe what we can see in this photo?
Yeah, sure. So we're looking at a photo of it's a photo of a backyard of a house I was renting in, I think, for a few years, but moved out of there maybe around 2 years ago. In the middle of the photo, you can see a bunch of funny looking fruit. They're pumpkins. There's some light, if you're familiar with pumpkins, a butternut pumpkin. It's the same color as a butternut pumpkin. There's also some lighter green ones that have a bit of a mottled or spotty pattern on them, a bit more like a zucchini. And then at the back, we've got some dark green pumpkins.
So all of those are pumpkins, but they're different shapes.
Yes, yeah. They're different varieties. Some of them are bred from a specific variety called a tromboncino pumpkin or a zucchini. Sometimes people call it zucchini. They're very closely related.
Okay.
And then the one at the back, that's another pumpkin variety called an ironbark pumpkin, which is an Australian bred pumpkin.
Okay, perfect. And what are some of the other things that we can see in the photo, either in the back or the foreground or to the side?
Okay, so I'll say at the start that the fruit or the pumpkins are lying on a patch of astroturf, which is fake grass, sometimes seen in mini golf courses.
Yeah, so it's not alive, it's plastic.
It's plastic, yeah, that's
okay.
right. Not my choice, but it was in the house that I lived in, so yeah. To the left, in the middle of the photo, you can see it's a cactus, but it doesn't have any spines.
Okay.
I think it's it grows in more humid or wetter areas, so not as arid or desert-like as some of the spiny cactuses.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then on the right side of the photo, there's lots of little cactuses as well there, or cacti and succulents and that kind of thing. And then there's shrubs and a few trees in the background as well.
Yeah, wow. There's a lot of, for such a small photo, there's lots of plant life.
There's lots of plants, yeah.
Yeah. It was a good garden. So I think you've already mentioned this, Dieter, but where was this photo taken?
This was taken, back in South Australia when I was living there, in a rental house that I lived in. Mordecai, you lived there for a little time as well.
I did, yes.
And yeah, it's in a suburb called Mile End, which is just west of the city.
Okay, perfect. And when was this photo taken?
This specific photo was probably taken not too long before I moved out of the house. So I think around March 2021.
Okay, so just over 2 years ago.
Yeah, around then.
Perfect. So why have you chosen this photo, Dieter? Why is it important to you? What's the story?
I think I chose this photo because I guess it was interesting. Some of the pumpkins, I've been growing those pumpkins from seed. So saving the seeds that would come from the fruit and then regrowing them for maybe about 3 or 4 years at this point in time.
So you bought one pumpkin or a few pumpkins to begin with,
Yeah, potentially I bought them as fruit, or I might have bought them as the seed themselves. I
Okay.
just grew them as reading a description and knowing I wanted to try that variety and then growing it from seed.
So just to say, so you planted them one way or another,
Yep,
and then when they grew, you ate the pumpkins, but you saved the seeds,
correct. Yeah,
and then planted more pumpkins the next year.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. And so in that, I suspect that I was growing butternut pumpkins, which is as I said earlier, the color of the main creamy kind of pumpkins.
So that creamy orange color.
Yeah, the curved ones. I was growing a butternut pumpkin, which has that color, and typically they have a little bit of a bell on one end, but they don't do the kind of curved shape that you can see in the photo.
They're smaller and rounder.
Smaller around it, yeah. So I was growing them, and I was growing the tromboncino pumpkin, which is the curved one that I mentioned. And I believe that they probably crossed a little bit and ended up with these large, funny-looking pumpkins.
So that you say they crossed a bit. What does that mean?
It means that, so I guess when a plant is reproducing, it requires, well, with pumpkins, they require pollen from a male flower and then to fertilize a female flower.
Yeah.
So they're two different flowers on a pumpkin. They'll look different. If you know what you're looking for, you can tell them apart. But basically, possibly what's happened at this house, we had a beehive as well, good for pollination.
Yeah.
But the bees were probably taking pollen from one variety of pumpkin.
Okay.
And then they take that across and put it in a female of the other variety.
Yeah.
And it means that when that pumpkin grows, it might have a bit of a mix of both varieties.
So it's like a mixture of two different kinds of pumpkins in this case.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to have crossbreed dogs. When there's two types of dogs, they breed, and the dog is like a mixture.
Same kind.
Like a mixture, right?
Yeah, a mix. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So these are unique pumpkins in that sense.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, at least what I think they are. Yeah, the ones at the back, I mentioned them briefly before. They're an ironbark pumpkin.
Yeah.
And I think when this photo was taken, that might have been the first year I grew them. So they should be what people refer to as true to type, which means that basically it is what it says on the packet. Okay. So it's still the ironbark variety, and it didn't have any options to reproduce in a mutation or a mix.
Okay, so it's kind of like, I keep going back to dogs, to like a purebred dog.
Yeah,
I mean,
still a purebred dog.
Yeah, pumpkin. Yeah, okay, cool. Very good. So can you tell us a little bit more about your hobby of gardening? I know you love gardening. You've done it for a long time. You're a very good gardener. I don't know. What do you like about gardening?
I think I like being outside. I like working with my hands, and it can be creative. At times it's not creative, but yeah, I guess there's potential, at least in a home garden, when you're looking after plants, you can kind of choose what you want to do with them, I guess. And it, and seeing plants grow is a positive, has positive mental effects for me, or like healthy mind kind of stuff, I think.
Yeah. What do you mean? What does it do for you? That's interesting.
I guess it's, it's just a nice thing to observe something grow and be healthy and happy, and it kind of tends to like make me feel better, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That makes sense, I guess, watching plants flourish.
Yeah.
And what are some of your future plans that have to do with gardening or plants? Because I know it's a big part of your life. What's something that you're looking forward to?
Well, my current job, I'm working looking after parks in a council, so a small municipality, and part of that role is selecting and planting trees for all sorts of reasons. But I guess if I think about the long-term effects of my input into public spaces, a positive is that, I might personally choose a tree that could live 100 years or something like that, and it ends up in a park, and people will appreciate it for its shade or its flowers or something like that for years to come.
Yeah, right. So you're part of it now and know that it's going to be something positive in the community.
Yeah, I think generally not everyone's always happy with trees, but I think the majority of people will appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Well, thanks so much for speaking with us. I've learned a bit about pumpkins and plants in general, so it's been very interesting.
No worries at all.
And thank you all for watching. As always, you can find all of the questions and answers from our conversation below in the description. And you can also find some of the useful vocabulary or phrases that we've used. And if you'd like to practice your English out loud or in writing, you can choose a photo of your own that has to do with either vegetables, plants, or gardens, and answer those same questions with whoever you practice your English with or in writing. So thanks again. See you next time. Thanks, Dita.
Thank you very much. Cheers.